Are you heavily involved in the seller finance strategy? Let's talk about how to hire the right real estate agent. In this episode, we're going to talk about realtors in general and their mindset, what to pay realtors, and then I'm going to tell you about the number one way to find the right realtor for you in the seller finance strategy. And then as a bonus, we might get to talk about when to hire an in-house salesperson and just keep it all to yourself. So when we're dealing with realtors in general, they're kind of a different species. They're not even remotely like an investor. Some people like to lump them together, but they're not really. I mean, we're both in the real estate business, but we couldn't be further apart. We're kind of like oil and water. Although there is always that overlap of realtors and investors that get together. But for the most part, realtors over here, investors over here, and they don't really fit together. One of the reasons is just the mindset. You've got realtors who are trained in a whole different arena of real estate than real estate investors. And we could go a long time into what the differences are, but it really doesn't matter. What does matter is how to find the right agent for you. Now, part of finding the right agent is you're going to have to decide what you're going to pay them. And let's just get this out of the way first, because if you don't agree with this, probably no real estate agent's really going to work with you. Believe me, I've tried. Is you're going to have to pay them 3% or what they're used to getting paid in the real estate community around where you live. Now, where I live, you got to pay 6% in a sales commission, 3% to the selling agent, and 3% to the listing agent, and doing one side or the other, and they're expecting 3% for their effort. Listing the property for sale or they're selling it. They get 3% for the listing or they get 3% if they sell it. Now, if they happen to list it and sell it, they get the whole 6%, but that's neither here nor there. The point is, you're going to have to pay them 3% because if you say anything other than 3%, that's been ingrained in them for so long that they're going to think that you're trying to take advantage of them. Because I don't think you're going to offer to pay more than 3%. Most of us, like me, I would pay them less. I would pay them less because selling my owner-financed homes was way easier, and I was the one giving out the loans, and these loans would, these closings would happen really fast because I owned the house, and I was the seller, and I was the financier, so these things would happen fast. So basically what happens is if I really want to pay 2%, but they won't listen to me unless I pay them 3%, is I just add 1% to my sales price, and I just add 1% to their commission, and I make them earn the extra 1%. So how do you find the right realtor for seller financing houses? Well, not every realtor understands seller financing. In fact, a whole bunch of them don't understand seller financing. There's evidence for this, and I'll talk about that in a minute, but I've even had realtors tell me that it's against the law for me to seller finance my own house, to which I replied, did you know it's against the law to give legal advice unless you have an attorney's license? And that kind of pushed that relationship to the side. But anyways, to find the right one, why waste time with anyone who doesn't understand? Let's go look for people that can prove or there's evidence they already understand. And that would be go to the MLS and find out where all the seller financed houses have been sold. Then start looking to see who sold those seller financed houses. And you'll start to find out that it's the same realtor or the same handful of realtors that are selling the houses that are offered for sale with seller financing. And then so you can narrow it down to these are the guys that already understand it because they're out there tearing it up. And then just go to them and talk to them about your properties and if they would like to sell your properties and agree on what you're going to pay them and the whole thing, down payments and all that. And that's how you shortcut the process. Because if you just want to start interviewing random realtors about seller financing, you're in for a long, long, long day. Let's just talk to the people that have already proven they understand seller financing. And again, you can do it by just going through the multiple listing service, finding out all the houses that sold with seller financing, and then start paying attention to the realtors that sold those houses. And I bet you're going to start seeing some of the same names over and over again. They're your people. So if you like this level of content and information, please hit the like button and the share button. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe now because there's a lot of content where this comes from. And I hope you're grabbing some nuggets along the way. Now let's talk about when to hire an in-house salesperson. The reason why we're looking toward real estate agents, and the only reason we're looking for real estate agents to sell our houses, is because we don't have enough volume to employ a full-time salesperson. Once you have the volume, you probably don't really even need to talk to the real estate agent community anymore, unless you've just found a dynamo that always handles your stuff. But at some point, if you're doing enough volume, you want someone who's only concentrating on your properties and only doing things the way you want them done. And that's when it's time to hire your in-house person. Now, where might you find these people? You want to find people that are willing to work on commission only, willing to only get paid upon success. And so you're going to have to do some advertising or some looking around and make it clear that you're looking for that kind of person. Now, a person that works commission only isn't going to work for minimum wage commission only rates. I mean, usually people that work on commission only make a pretty damn good living, because if they don't sell, they don't get paid. But when they do sell, they get paid pretty well. They're out there. My father was a full-time sales commission only salesman. And he did it for years and years and years, and he wouldn't have had it any other way. When he didn't work, he didn't get paid. But when he worked, he got paid well. That's what you got to offer your full-time salesperson. All right, thanks for hanging in with me to the end of this episode. I really appreciate it. I want to give you the first 31 pages of this book, My Life in 1,000 Houses, 200 plus ways to find bargain properties. Now, the reason I want to give you the first 31 pages is because it's all about branding. And if you get off on the wrong foot with your name, your phone numbers, your URLs and your websites names, you're in for a mess. You can read these 31 pages and I will get you started off on the right foot in the right direction with branding, and you'll be so glad that you did. It's just 31 pages and you're going to see what I'm talking about. So go to 1000houses.com, scroll up and down the homepage there, looking at all the free stuff that I have to offer, and click on First 31 Pages, and it'll be downloaded to you digitally, and you'll be reading about it in a few seconds. It won't take you that long to get through. You're going to be so glad you read that 31 pages.